Hi everyone, welcome to Linda's Thrifty Life. I am feeling so much better than yesterday. Thank you all for your well wishes and your prayers. Whew. I got a good night's sleep and I woke up without, nausea, and it was so nice. So I was feeling better by last night, and I started answering some of your comments. But anyway, today is December 23rd. Just 2 more days. Well, today, tomorrow, and then it's Christmas. I never know how to count that. My family is on their way back from South Georgia. They had a fun Christmas celebration there, and they'll be back. And today is a special day for them, for Sarah and Blake. It is their wedding anniversary. They got married 13 years ago. Oh my goodness. So I wanted to share a little bit of that story with you. Sarah, when she graduated from high school in the year 2000, she then went to the University of Georgia, which is here in Athens, where I live now. And her freshman year, she had dated some, but she was not one to get really seriously involved with anybody because she was like, she had her goals, she was going to get her degree. She had her goals and a strong faith, strong Christian faith. So during her freshman year, she met up with this group of boys, and she called them the Camilla Boys. And Camilla is in South Georgia, and it's near Moultrie, where she grew up. And a group of them and a group of her friend, they would hang out at some of the youth things, the Christian youth things, and so she got to know these boys. So she brought home a boy or two now and then. On a Sunday, I lived about an hour and a half away at the time, and she would bring them home for a home-cooked meal once in a while. And she brought one boy home, I can't remember his name, and I could tell he was quite smitten with her, but I thought she liked him just as a friend. And she kept telling me, no, Mama, they're all friends, just friends, nobody special, school. So one time she brought home two boys, and one was the one she had brought home before, and one was this new boy, and his name is Blake. He was and is a charming young man. He just told jokes, and he made me smile and everything. And so as they're leaving and pulling out of the driveway, I looked at my boyfriend then, and I said, why can't she like him? He's perfect for her. Blake is perfect for her. So not long after that, she said, Mama, I like one of the Camilla boys, like him. And I said, oh, please be Blake. Please be Blake. And it was. So he was kind of seeing somebody else, but this is a long story. But anyway, they finally started dating, and they're just perfect for each other. So they dated for a long time, and Sarah finished school. The goal was for her to finish college. She did. Then she went to grad school, and they experienced some distance in their relationship, which tested them a lot. When she finished grad school and had her master's, she came back to Athens, and I think in her little mind it was like, okay, boy, it's time. And he proposed, and they set a date. They didn't want to take a long time, and they set a date. Oh, scooching around. Anyway, they wanted to get married. They got engaged in the end of summer, and they wanted to get married because there was no sense waiting. They'd known each other all these years, and also she had time off, and so did he, so they could have a little honeymoon then. So they picked December 23rd. So Mama scrambled, and it was an away wedding. It was down in South Georgia in Camilla, in the little church that Blake's parents got married in. It's just a charming little church down there. So anyway, long story short, December 23rd, we go have a wedding. This is my beautiful, beautiful daughter as a bride. Isn't she gorgeous? We paid $100 for that dress. She did not want to spend a lot of money, so we went and found a used dress from a shop, and then we paid more for the alterations because she's a tiny little thing, and then the veil was brand new. The veil cost more, but it was so pretty. And she's just such a pretty girl. I know I'm her mom, but I'm proud of her. And this, oh, you're going to love this. This is how I looked 13 years ago. Have I changed much? I think I've gotten older. Well, of course I have. It's 13 years. My little creases are a little stronger. My hair is long. I used to frost it. It looks so pretty. But I don't bother with that now. And then here is her dad and I with our baby girl. He and I are still very good friends. And there he is. And then this is my beautiful daughter and son-in-law. Oh, let's see if I can get that. He's a very handsome young man. And they have aged a bit here, 13 years. I was looking at these pictures and thought they looked like babies. And then this is their going away picture. And they had Santa hats on and a basket full of goodies and food. And they went to, I believe they went to Charleston for their honeymoon. And then I had to wait and wait and wait and wait until they finally made me a grandma. So this is a very special day. It was a beautiful wedding, simple, heartfelt. Sarah's Aunt Erlene, who is her dad's sister, her husband married them. He has since passed away from cancer. It was very, very sad. But Bill was a great man, and her aunt played the piano, and so her Uncle Bill married them, and then Blake's sister sang a song, and Blake's littlest sister was the flower girl, and it was a beautiful, simple, wonderful wedding. And they are just the happiest. It's hard. Life is hard, but they have a really strong foundation, and I'm just proud of them. Okay, 7 minutes of, but yeah, I'm proud of my daughter. So December 23rd has always been just a kind of a, I try to make sure that their anniversary doesn't get lost in the hustle and bustle of Christmas, but sometimes it does. But then something really tragic happened. And 4 years ago, my brother, who had a really hard life, he was an alcoholic and in and out of rehab, and he could just never pull it together. And it just got the best of him. And he ended up losing his wife and his children. They kind of all were estranged from him. He was in Texas, living in a senior housing, barely getting around. His liver was failing, and Mom was here with me. She couldn't handle the stress of him drinking and all of the stuff that goes along with that, which, if any of you have experience with alcoholics, it's rough. But that whole last year that my brother was alive, we would talk on the phone, and God shared with me that I just was to love him. I wasn't to judge him. I wasn't to tell him to stop drinking. I wasn't to tell him to do this or that. I was just to love him. And so I was just his sister, and I loved him. And we had the best conversations, and it was just a really, it was like having my brother back. These are some pictures. This is an old picture. I can't even tell you how old that is, of he and I together. And then this is my very favorite picture of him, and the one that reminds me of him the most. And that little twinkle in his eye, and that little smirky smile at me going, sis. He used to call me sis. Hey, sis. So 4 years ago at Thanksgiving, Mom and I tried to call him and we couldn't get through to him. And I thought, well, maybe he's just, out and about, doesn't have his cell phone. And I kept trying to call him and I couldn't get a hold of him, and I was really starting to get concerned. We didn't talk every week, but usually every other week, and I knew the holidays were busy for us, but I couldn't get a hold of him. And he had answered the phone one time and I couldn't understand him. He was rah, 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 and I kept thinking, well, had you been to the dentist? What was going on? Finally, I was about to call his apartment management place and say, do you know where he is? And they called me. And my brother was in the hospital and he was not doing well. And the hospital was trying to find somebody that was next of kin. So, very long story short, I got everyone to give permission for me to be in charge. We had to go through my mom and both of his children. I flew to Texas. Mom didn't go. Her health was not that good, and I didn't think I could handle her and my brother. So I got there, and the doctor said, well, he's failing. The only thing we could do is put in a feeding tube, and like all the muscles, and the reason I couldn't understand him was because he could hardly talk. But when I walked in that hospital room, his eyes lit up and he went, my sister. Not that clear, but I understood him. And everybody that walked in, he would go, my sister, my sister. So he and I had discussions that he did not want to extend his life. He was ready. His quality of life was pretty poor. His body was breaking down. And he was ready. He just was ready. He was tired of living. And so that was what we agreed on. So I told him that I would take the best care of him I could. So the social worker there was trying to help me get him into hospice. And I got a motel room, and that first night that I got there, I got a call that he had stopped breathing, and they had intubated him because, of course, he didn't have a DNR, do not resuscitate, because of because we hadn't gotten all the legal things yet. We were working on it. So I went over to intensive care, and he was completely out of it, but he was breathing. So I started calling his children and telling them that if they wanted to see him one more time, that they needed to come. So my niece Amanda, she was able to come that night, and she went in, and she has had the most hard time with him, and he did some pretty terrible things as a dad. He just did. So she has to be alone with him, and I got everybody out of the intensive care room, and they shut the door and they let her just talk to him. And I have no idea what she said to him, but it was her right, and he was conscious. He did know she was there. His eyes lit up when she came in. Of course, he couldn't speak, and she had her say, and then she left, and she was good. So she had closure with him. My nephew was living in Oklahoma, so he was much further away, and it took him like a day to get there. And so I left my brother on the intubation during that time on the breathing tube, because we didn't know if we took it out, if he could breathe, and he might die. And I knew that my nephew was coming. So he got there and he walked in and he was just like, wow, at the condition that his dad was in. And my nephew has had his own troubles with alcohol and drugs. And I looked at him and I said, don't do this to your family. Straighten up your life. Don't do this to your family. And he says, I will. And he has. And I'm so proud of him. So we signed papers as next of kin, and Richard was able to say yes, he did not. He wanted no extraordinary measures. He didn't want to be nothing, you know. So they took out the intubation, and he could still breathe, but it wasn't easy. And meanwhile, they were getting him into hospice. So, gosh, I'm sorry. And if this is boring, you go, but this is kind of for me today. And I just kept telling my brother, you know, I'm here for you, and I'm doing everything I can. So we got him moved finally to the hospice, and the hospital was not giving him very much in the pain medicine, and he was just so uncomfortable, and he would, you know, moan and cry and look at me like, I hurt, sis, and he could hardly talk. So once we got him to hospice, into a nursing home, and they had offered me 24-hour care for him. Someone from hospice would come and sit with him 24 hours a day so I could go get some sleep. And it was such a relief to know that he wasn't alone. And they got him some drugs, and he went to sleep. And then I left that night. I didn't know if he would make it through the night, but he did. So I came back the next day, and he was pretty much in a coma. But the hospice worker had cleaned him up, had bathed him and shaved him, and he just looked so peaceful. So I had some errands I had to do that day. I had to go talk to a funeral home about cremation and just other things I had to do. And they had promised that they would call me if he got close to the end. But before I left that morning, I bent over and kissed him and told him, I said, you know, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to fly away, my brother. So fly away. Just go. I'm okay. Mom's okay. Your family's okay. Just fly away. So that afternoon I got a call that his breathing was slowing down to, you know, it was going to be soon. So I was maybe 5 minutes away, and I rushed over there. Just as I walked in, I think he had stopped breathing, and I was able to spend some time with him. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, is to watch someone like that. But it was also, I knew I had given him the best gift that I could give him, which was the end he wanted, and as peaceful as I could make it. So while he had been in the hospital, I had gone to, when I had walked downstairs to get something to eat, I had seen a little gift shop, and I went in there. You know how you just, anything to distract yourself. And they had a little Christmas tree, and they had some ornaments on it. And I saw this ornament, and I thought, I have to have that. That's my brother. I'm going to show you this ornament. It's this little elfie. It's like a little elf. And he's holding a heart balloon. And it's got a string. And he's flying away. And every year I put that out on my tree now. And I know my brother is still with me. So that's how December 23rd has come to be one of the best days of my life, and also one of the worst. But I am blessed that I had my brother, that I was able to help him in the end, to the end he wanted. And I miss him. I miss him all the time. So, I will probably be back later with a much more cheerful video. My informed delivery says that I have a couple of packages coming today, which will be nice. But I understand if you haven't watched this video. I really do. But it's something I wanted to make for me. So, thank you all, my dear friends. And this day is bittersweet. But I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. I'll talk to you soon.